Okay, all right. Add it up.
Hello and welcome to In the Community. I'm Joe Dexter this Tuesday. Hope you're having a great day. We have a wonderful show for you, local people, local news here on In the Community presented by Dexter Media. Leigh Cockram will join us, the Economic Director for Rockingham County, to talk about what a great 2020 this area had regionally as far as job development and creation and industry. We'll talk about that coming up in a little bit and take an overview of that. But first, I want to bring you today the opening statement. Just some thoughts for you to contemplate as nonprofit leaders, small business leaders, and members of our community. Important things are adoption, adaption, and taking control of what you can handle and things that you can change. In this day and age with so many things going on, it's so important to understand how we can adapt and really take control of what we can adapt. Sometimes in these things that are going on in our world, it's hard to make those adjustments, but you can do it with the power of your local community. Tomorrow will be a big day in history as far as the inauguration, and anytime a president is inaugurated, it's big history. But local history sets the barriers, and it also sets the roadmaps for what happens nationally. We have to be more powerful in the local level than we have to worry about at the national level, working together, collaborations, being there for one another, and adapting to our changes right here. And we're going to talk about that with Leigh Cockram coming up in just a bit, how the county has adopted to these changes that we've had in 2020 with the coronavirus and so many other situations, and how virtually connecting can really make a difference, as well as the industrial difference that we'll be seeing coming up here in Rockingham County throughout the next couple of years, set with a great ground level here in 2020. Let's take an overview of what has happened at the local level, industrial-wise, and the hard work that's been put in by the team with small business, tourism, and economic development right here in our community. Over 1,000 jobs, over 800 million in investment from companies coming into our region. Those jobs will be imperative throughout the few years. To join us to talk about it is one of Triad Business Journal's 10 to watch, Leigh Cockram, our local economic director. Leigh, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you on, and glad to talk about these major, not necessarily improvements, but working for a long time. Seems like these things happen right away, but it takes some time to develop these relationships and develop these happenings. How was 2020 for you and your office? And give us a recap of what it meant to have this big of an investment in Rockingham County in 2020.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, 2020 couldn't have been a better year for our office in Rockingham County, especially given the circumstances of being in an unprecedented time with the pandemic, with COVID, and having to learn to do business a little differently. Not so much of the face-to-face visits and getting to know each other that we're used to in economic development. But it was a really great year for us on a variety of different levels. Not only the industrial recruitment that was fantastic, that you mentioned, over 1,000 jobs, 800 million in new investment announced for the county, but also with tourism activities. The Mayo State Park saw, over 200% increase with visitation, new businesses even being able to open up, with small businesses in our downtowns. So new residential developments and communities being planned. So it's just been, it was a rock star of the year, and just expect and hope to see this continue through 2021.
The growth is unbelievable in all those aspects. And as a small business owner, I've seen it. And as somebody looking for a house, I've seen it. I think the number is over 466 additional subdivision lots. I mean, it's been crazy to see the growth through all aspects. But how much does the industrial side set the tone for the rest of the growth, whether it's tourism or whether it's in the housing market?
I think it goes hand in hand. Really the industrial growth, I think, is what gets people starting to get your community on a map, if you will, when people see names like Ontex and Purina and Farmina and Ruger, doing expansions or opening here. I think that's people their interest gets piqued, especially developers on the residential side, or people looking at opportunities of places to go and get jobs and move. So it really does go, hand in hand, and you can't do one really without the other. So, seeing all of the synergy between residential, small business, tourism, and industrial growth all happening at roughly the same time is really quite exciting. And I just think that this is just the tip of the iceberg for the great things that are to come.
I think 2020 and 2021 will be the year of cohesion. And I think one thing that is key in what you guys do is the strong relationships not only you have in your office as a team, but working with others in Reidsville and Eden and our other municipalities, as well as in the private sector. If you don't have that cohesion, these great announcements just don't happen.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we say it at every announcement. I mean, economic development is a team sport, and it is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so you have to have partners that you can trust, that you can rely on, that they can trust you, to make sure that you are being, transparent and honest, and just all working in the same direction to get the results, that we've gotten this past year. And it's absolutely key to have all of those partners on board.
What are some of those changes that you've seen this year and into 2021 that your office has had to make? I mean, we talked about the cohesion. An Italian company was willing to open up here in Reidsville during these times. It takes some cohesion, but it also takes changing of how you approach things, correct?
It does. I mean, it's again, it's not the same where you're having multiple one-on-one meetings, and in the past, that's I guess where many of us felt like that's how relationships are better formed, or are stronger formed, if you will. But not being able to have those meetings, it was just beyond imperative that every communication that we were sending to not only the company but their consultant group and any of the projects that we've worked was accurate, and the message was cohesive, but no matter what partner was saying it. So it was key to make sure that there wasn't any confusion. Because a lot of times when you're writing back and forth and you're having those sorts of dialogues, instead of that face-to-face, there can be some lost in translation type moments. And so it was really, really key for us that we don't have those when we're working projects. And we're very fortunate that all of our partners understand that really there needs to be, kind of one point of contact on the industrial recruitment side. So to minimize the opportunity for messages to get crossed or mixed, because your word and your ability to create that trust with a company is, Farmina is a perfect example. This is their first U.S. manufacturing and headquarters that will be here, and so that's a big decision. And so we have to make sure that they have the faith in us that we have in them to do what's right and to be successful.
Leadership is so key in this time, whether it's that private sector leader that's communicating with you or you communicating with your team, or in the municipalities having that strong leadership today, especially as we're separated. Not everybody's in the office. Not everybody can be there. The leadership is where it starts. But how much important is it for you to have a team that is, they're away from you, but they're still answering that email, that text, that phone call? I mean, that's the key part of it.
Oh, absolutely. And, we couldn't do it without having all of our different partners on board to be responsive and to, yet again, relay accurate information back to us, regardless of what the project is, even if it's a residential housing development, understanding what are limitations to maybe some water and sewer things, being responsive and making sure that what we're communicating is accurate is key. And I don't know it all. I have to rely on many partners in a variety of different, sectors and locations around the county and the state.
She's Leigh Cockram. She's the Director of Economic Development and Tourism here in Rockingham County and one of Triad Business Journal's 10 to Watch. I wanted to ask you about small business. You're a small business owner, and as we transition into 2021, we're seeing a lot of people stay at home. We're seeing a lot of people looking to jump and make that decision to be their own boss. How important is it to create some type of environment that is comfortable for them and also works for them and gives them the tools they need to succeed?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely key. I mean, when I started my clothing business, I'd been in economic development for 10 years or so. And I thought, well, I should know pretty much how to do this. I work in business and I help other people navigate this space. And it was not that easy. So it's very important that, our office, along with our other partners, with the Small Business Center at the community college, our SCORE chapters, our chambers of commerce, that we all create an environment of knowledge and skill sets that we can help people who are either interested in starting a business, navigate how you go from kind of concept to reality, or also existing small businesses that are looking to grow. So it's really important. I mean, small businesses are the backbone of our communities. They are definitely the backbone of our downtowns. And we just need to make sure that everyone understands that we are here to help them navigate through some challenging times.
And we've seen that even regional companies, local companies, big companies, if they're local to us, such as Blow Molded Solutions, for example, if you give them a platform to grow, they're going to grow. I mean, we've seen that with Blow Molded and Ruger, both in Western Rockingham.
Yeah, absolutely. And Blow Molded, I think, is a great example of, someone who took the step out and said, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start this business on my own, kind of that leap of faith. And that business has just continued to grow. And they just, as you well know, just announced a new expansion right at the end of 2020. So it's, there is a bit of faith that you have to put in it, but if you don't, it's not going to happen on its own. So, and we'd love to help people evaluate options and, decision-making and looking at pros and cons of how you move about creating and starting your own business.
Rockingham County is a beautiful canvas to work with the rivers and lakes on the tourism side. So many great tourism destinations, and with the growing business side, continuing to improve and to continue to develop the way it is. What is a roadmap that you're looking for in your office for 2021 to continue to move forward? And what are some of the things that you're looking at and saying, man, we can continue to build on this?
Yeah, sure. So kind of, I guess, piggybacking on just the natural beauty of Rockingham County. I mean, one of the things that our goals, and we had hoped that it was a goal, I guess, if you will, for 2020, but when budgets kind of got slashed, not knowing where we would end up, if you will, on revenue, tax revenue and occupancy revenue space, is the Blue Way branding. So to look at, because our the rivers and trails and lakes are so popular. They attract so many people from all across the region in different states. We'd like to make that a very friendly experience. So when someone comes to Rockingham County to get on our river, they know where they are. They know how far the next access point is for them. So we're looking to make a cohesive branding of our river and waterway system. So that's something that we want to continue to build on and make a little more accessible for others. We want to continue to push the word out, not only to the surrounding region, but again, other states of where we're seeing visitation coming from Georgia to Pennsylvania, obviously the Carolinas, South Carolina, Virginia, but just to make sure that people are truly aware of the great things to do here at any time. And then, we're going to continue to support and look for residential, commercial, retail opportunities with developers who are interested and can continue to grow the industrial base with projects that we're working and that we hope to work moving forward.
She's Leigh Cockram, the economic director here in Rockingham County and in charge of tourism as well. Recently named one of Triad Business Journal's 10 to watch. Before we head out of here in the community, I got to ask about Southern Rockingham and business infrastructure here in Rockingham County. We're seeing the growth on the Southern Rockingham side. How important is growth of infrastructure here with a lot of the facilities being held with great businesses already? What's that look like as far as plans in the future?
Yeah, so making sure that we're building out capacity, which we have, excess capacity currently on the western side of Rockingham County. Having our commissioners and the leadership of the county recognize the need to extend water and sewer in particular to help facilitate the growth of not only the industrial projects that we're seeing, but also the residential and commercial growth has been key. And so what we are doing and we'll have to continue to do is just make sure that we are, monitoring where we are with that growth and making sure that we're doing upgrades and maintenance as needed to ensure that we do have the capacity and the services required to continue to effectively, serve all of the new developments that we're seeing.
It's a key thing to have all the developments, like you mentioned. Quality of life, too, is another thing that's improved so drastically in Rockingham County in the 10 years that I've been here. And having that quality of life to pitch makes it a little bit easier, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It definitely does. People they truly do want to live, work, and play in the same place. Nobody wants to sit in a car for an hour a day, commuting back and forth if they don't have to, So being able to say that you can and honestly say that you can truly do those things in one county is really quite exciting because not everyone can say that. Everyone likes to say that they can, but truth be told, they can't. So to see the quality of life and the great our downtowns, every single downtown in Rockingham County is growing, is emerging as a place, as a destination of its own. The housing and the residential developments, and then of course the ability to find work also in the county. It's just all really, really exciting.
Well, a total of over $800 million investment in 2020 alone. Before we get you out of here, Leigh, I got to give you the chance. I'm going to be a business now. You're the pitch person. Tell me why Rockingham County is the perfect place to come.
It's the perfect place to come for a number of reasons, but the main ones are that you have access to a fantastic transportation nodes and modules. You have an access to a diverse workforce without being in a metro, so you're not competing per se for some of the higher skilled labor sheds. You'll be able to find those folks here in Rockingham County. It's a lower cost of doing business where we are. And we have the best support services that you're going to find anywhere. We're in this for the long run. We don't announce projects and walk away. We announce projects and we make sure that you have the tools you need to be successful because that's ultimately our best selling point.
I'm sold. I'm on my way.
There you go. Love it.
Leigh Cockram, she is the economic director in Rockingham County and also in charge of tourism for our great county. Leigh, thanks for taking the time and thanks for all the work you're doing here in our community to make it a better place.
Oh, thanks so much, Joe, for having me. And I really appreciate all you do to spread the good word about what's happening here.
This is In the Community, Dexter Media. Have a great, great Tuesday, everybody.
Okay, all right.